thank the team, Kylie and team, for asking me to come and share my story with you, as I also have a story just like all of you, wherever you may be, wherever you may live, and wherever your home country is. And my goal is to let you know that as a woman who lives in America now, I was also once a 14-year-old, just like you. And one of the things that gave me the courage to step forward and want to make the transition of coming to this country, and if you know, Iran went through a major revolution a long time ago, almost 40 years ago. But this was before the revolution, and I was so intrigued by wanting to come to US and study and continue my education. So, and I was very young. I have to take you back just a few years prior to that. When I was about 4 years old, I was so excited to go to school early and start school. I could not start it at the age of 4, so I asked my dad to please change my birth certificate so I could become older so I could go to school. And he was like, well, you can't just do that. I said, no, I think it can be done. So why don't you go see some people? Maybe you can make this possible. So on paper, I became 2 years older so I could start school at a very young age. It was just the love of wanting to learn and wanting to go to school. So when I moved to US as a 14-year-old, I was literally on paper a couple of years older, so everybody thought I was 16. My parents wanted to send me to a dormitory, to a boarding school, so I had someone there that would look after me. And I asked them, I really think I can take care of myself. Let me go by myself, and I will promise to live by the rules that you have taught me and do right by what my upbringing was. I had a few cousins that lived in Colorado at the time. And I said, well, send me there. They said, no, you have to go somewhere in a boarding school. Somebody has to look after you. So I finally convinced my dad. So the art of negotiation and standing your grounds and declaring what you want and where do you want to be in life starts very young age. You have to really pay attention to that. If your inner voice tells you something, if you really are keen on doing something, ask for it. Ask for it, and somehow you'll make your way of getting your wishes. I always say, declare your wishes to the universe, and it will eventually be answered. So I get here at the age of 14, my dad says fine. I stay with my cousins for a very short while to start high school, and then I realized that they were not necessarily the types of kids I wanted to live with. I was studying and they were smoking all kinds of stuff, and I was studying and trying to pay attention to school, and they were partying. So I called my dad. I said, you know what? I can't live with them. He says, what do you mean? I said, I have to go get an apartment by myself. I can't stay with people like that because I'm never ever going to amount to anything. So again, another round of negotiations with my dad. How are you going to do this? How are you going to get an apartment? I haven't even been there. This is when revolution took place, so I did not go back home. I hadn't seen my parents for a while now. So he said, I guess I have no way by saying yes, see what we could do. So I go and get an apartment. I was the only kid in high school that had her own apartment, so everybody thought, oh yes, we've got a party house now. I would be very focused on not having anybody stay over past 9 o'clock. I did get an apartment. I was my own guardian. I was my own mom. I was my own dad. I had to do all of it on my own. I needed to make sure that I was doing the right thing. I was not getting into trouble. I would not even touch a drop of alcohol because I was underage. I never smoked because I figured if I do anything that I am in trouble, I have nobody to come and take care of it. So even though some situations in some places, in some countries may really look difficult, I want to see everybody there too, but I want you to know, truly finding yourself in a new country by yourself, trying to do the right thing, it can be overwhelming. So the best thing you can do in any overwhelming situation is just, get yourself together, always have hope. Somehow something is going to work out. You may have sleepless nights worrying. You may find, well, you're all alone. There's nobody here that you could do things with. But that on its own will give you a lot of energy, a lot of power to be able to stand your ground and do the right thing. So I think that has just been the challenge for me from the beginning. Getting here by myself, living in high school by myself, not getting into trouble. I graduated and then I wanted to study chemical engineering. I was always set on wanting to do things that I may eventually be able to go back home to my own home country. We have a lot of oil, we have a lot of refineries. I thought I could make a nice future out of it. To make a long story short, I never went back because that country became a place that does not allow women to be and to be as free. You can't, your hair and your existence and all of that is always in jeopardy because you may be out of line. Whereas it was a very nice, very westernized, very developed country. So it went back in time. I eventually finished my university. I became a chemical engineer. I used to live in Colorado, and that's where I finished on my university. I moved to California, started working in different fields till I eventually landed my job as a chemical engineer with a big company called Daniels. Again, that's a very male-dominated field of studies. You can never, ever shy away from what you want to do and what your heart tells you and what you desire. You want to do a man's field of study, do it. No one should ever stop you. As women, we always hear a lot of no's. Oh, you're too young to do this. Oh, you're a woman, you can't do that. Oh, you're a woman, you don't belong in this company. Oh, you're a woman, you cannot go to the field and do the things that they ask you to. So as I was hired at Daniels as a chemical engineer, I've had a lot of obstacles. A lot of times men thought, oh, well, it's just a pretty woman coming to the group. They just needed to meet their quota as a woman to hire a few women. And we had, a few encounters where people were men, some men. We have a lot of great men out there as well. I want you to know, I am not anti-men. I'm married to a wonderful gentleman. I have a wonderful 14-year-old son. But you have to really be cautious of the ones that constantly want to push down women and push down the girls. And all you need to do is just steer clear away from them. And don't let any of them, don't let anyone ever take you down and tell you that no, it cannot be done. So the story continues. I worked at Daniels for a number of years, and then I had this, a boss that actually one time came over and told, I was running late coming to the office, so I went and told him, I'm sorry I'm late, and he says, well, I bet it took you a long time to put your makeup on, that's why you're late. So I actually told him, I'm not going to report you, but if you ever speak to me like this, it'll be the end of you working here. I don't care how much older you are and how high up in the ladder of the corporate board you are. So after a little while doing that, I decided that, you know what, I really should try to do something on my own. I should try to take a look at potentially different businesses and different opportunities. Again, everybody says, What are you going to do? You're going to open up your own refinery? As a woman in this field, there are not very many things you could do. So I battled with the idea for about 5-6 months. What do I do? Can I still continue working as an engineer, have my own company? Can I potentially have a business started? I also have to mention on a side note, there are a lot of wonderful people that can always become a mentor to people that want to do things in life. So don't ever overlook people that can help you. It could be any woman out there, it could be any man out there that has the best interest of helping others to succeed on the path that they're walking on. So I met this wonderful gentleman at a company I was working at, and I ran the idea that we should really take a look at seeing what we could do, even though it seemed impossible. It literally seemed impossible. But so we started working for a company, and I told that owner that we will bring in a lot of business, we will do all of this, and I got into the environmental field. He never lived up to the promises he made that we would have shares in the company. So one day, about 18 years ago, he came in and he said, you know, I don't understand what you're doing. I'm not about to pay you guys for this. Tomorrow morning, I'm shutting down the company. And you guys no longer have a job. And I thought, my God, my dreams are shattered, because I started working there thinking that I would probably have some shares in the company. Maybe that would be a way to go and open up the company. Maybe that would get me to the next level I wanted to. Again, I'm just sharing the number of no's you hear over and over and over and over. Life is full of no's, and all you need to do is believe that you can change every no to a yes, if you really believe in yourself and knowing what it is you want to do. So he told me this on Thursday. He says, we're shutting down the company, I'm firing everyone. If you want to stay here and you really believe in what you want to do, is you can buy the assets of the company from me. You could try to open it up. I'm not going to get in your way. I'll move all the business and everything else away. So I called this gentleman that was working with me. His name is John. He's almost like a father figure to me. The other point, if you don't have a father nearby, my father was living, but I never had him with me. Look up to someone else that can be a father. If you don't have a mother, all you need to do is look into someone that can give you that loving, wonderful hug that you need to get on with your way and do things. Because a lot of us, unfortunately, have had situations that we've been separated from parents. We don't have our parents, or some don't have parents living. But don't ever use that as a crutch and play a victim. You can never be a victim of any circumstance in life. You will only hold your own future in your own hand, and no one's going to do it for you. No one will really do it for you unless you stand up and do it yourself. So at that time, I called John Thursday. I said, we're fired. We don't have a job. I don't know what to do. I think we really should just use this opportunity and get the business going. I was married. I called my husband. I said, I don't want any money from you. I want to take all the money I have in my savings. My 401k is something we have in US. I want to start the company myself. So John says, I have no money, but I give you all the support you need. So 18 years ago, we started the company that we have, and I am the CEO and the president of the company now. We work, and what we do is, the name of the company is Ship and Shore Environmental. So what I thought was, of course, I can't own a refinery, but what I could do is I can clean the air pollution coming off of all of the industrial facilities all around at any given industrial plant you can imagine. Chemical, petrochemical, refineries, plastic manufacturing, any facility that is polluting the air we breathe became our target market. So what we've done is we have worked with a lot of companies around the country. We just opened up our offices in China a few years ago. We've done a lot of work in Canada, and I'm getting ready to go to Middle East in next month because we have a major opportunity to work in the Middle East in Dubai. And I have to share a really funny story with you, and I share this story most every time I have a chance to speak. So I'm a woman, somewhat of a tiny, small woman, and we go to give a presentation to a very, very large company. It was a non-US company, but they had the plant in US in Texas. So I walk in with all of my engineers, about 5, 6 guys, and I go in and I tell them we're here for a presentation. So 5, 6 guys and myself. So they automatically assumed I'm the secretary of the group. So women can only in their eyes be a secretary. And back then we did not have our titles on our card because I thought it's good for people to know anything is possible. So I walk in, so the person comes and says, yeah, why don't you get your guys some coffee, and this is where you set up everything, and why don't you set whatever you want on the other side, and if you want, you can stay in the room, or if you want to wait for the guys outside. I said, okay, fine, thank you very much. So then what I did was I had and the guys are standing and looking at me and thinking she's gonna really I didn't say anything, so we went in and we sat our presentation material, we sat down and got everything done and ready. And then a bunch of guys came in and sat across from us. So I am the only woman in a room of maybe 15 guys. And so what happens is the guy who was the president of the company sits there and is looking at everybody else and says, and I told them, and then I told everybody start introducing yourself from one side to the other. So they started introducing themselves. So-and-so says, I'm Larry Parker, the mechanical engineer. So-and-so, I'm the electrical engineer. I'm the controls engineer. John, who is my mentor and a father, he's the VP of the company. So he says, I'm the vice president of engineering, and this is what I do. So I turned around and I turned around and told them, I'm Anoosheh. I'm the president and the CEO of the company. So you should have seen their eyes, their mouth. It was like, so it was probably to this day one of the best moments of finding men where they're speechless. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to react. They're like, I truly wish I had a camera and I could take something. So we did get a major project from them. And the most important thing is, and that's the message I'll leave you with, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in what you do, if you stand firm on ground as to what you want to do and what you want to achieve, no one can ever stop you. No one can ever get in your way. It doesn't matter if you're a little girl, you're a big girl, you're a tiny girl, you're a not so tiny girl. We come in all sizes and shapes. We come in all forms and colors. But the most important thing is we have as much brain power as any guy out there, if not stronger. We have as much brain power as any other person that may have been pampered to go take a position. But if you believe in yourself, you can do it. I love sharing my story, not because I'm boasting about it, just because I truly am a living proof of a young girl that came here by herself, stood by her own belief and what she could do, and I just pushed as much as I could, as long as I could, till I was able to finally prove it that I am who I am because of what I believed in myself. So I think that is really possible for all of you. Whatever you like, you wish, your heart desires, please follow through with it. And don't let anything ever get in your way. If a door closes somewhere, another one would open up. Just keep looking at these possibilities. Don't ever let anyone keep you behind doors. Be seen, have your voices heard, stand for what you believe, and don't ever let somebody drive you down. On that note, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions. If there is anything particular, if the translation needs follow-up or more, I'd be more than